In the early 1990s, David Berenbaum authored a first draft of the Elf script. The studio involved was pushing for Chris Farley to play the lead in a raunchier version of the film, but David strongly opposed that idea. He decided to hold off on production in order to find a more suitable actor who better aligned with his vision. While the studio viewed it as a one-off film for a quick buck during the holiday season, David recognized its potential for something greater.
But it wasn't a big movie to begin with, where the studio wholeheartedly believed in it.
You know, buddy, it's your father.
By the 2000s, a new generation of talent was emerging, and Jon Favreau showed interest, as well as former SNL cast member Will Ferrell.
Vancouver.
So now,
but how do you get that job? Because that's a big Hollywood movie in the first place.
At the time that I got it, Old School hadn't been out yet. It was like a low-budget comedy, high-concept comedy with a Saturday Night Live guy. Will Ferrell wasn't really
let me tell you something.
Commodity yet.
You got that movie because nobody expected that movie to make that kind of business.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Right. You surprised everyone.
The first thing that surprised everybody was Old School with Vince and Will and Luke. That did really well, and that made everybody think that Will might be a bankable star. So New Line got behind Elf and got excited about it.
How much did that movie cost you to make?
Favreau revised the script, turning it into a heartwarming family film. His aim was to transcend it from a simple one-off and elevate it to the status of a potential Christmas classic.
No, you can't. I really wanted this to be something special because nowadays, if people love a movie, they'll watch it over and over again. They'll buy the DVD. In a Christmas movie, who knows, it might end up on TV. People might be growing up watching this movie.
Every year, right?
That would be a dream come true.
Berenbaum highly agreed with this sentiment, and together they began taking inspiration from Christmas classics of old and began detailing what they wanted. In order to make this happen, Favreau's wish to not rely on CGI was top priority. Favreau fought for the film to be made practically, which included various set pieces set in the North Pole, as well as portions of stop motion. Favreau's vision materialized and production went on its way.
But when he first entered the meeting, he had 3 rules that he wanted to follow. Make Elf look like a stop-motion Rankin Bass Christmas special, make it a truly family Christmas movie, and make it a timeless classic. In order for it to be timeless, they couldn't use any CGI at all because Favreau knew that in 10 years' time, the animation would look outdated and old-fashioned.
Elf was released on November 7th, 2003 and came in second in the box office behind The Matrix Revolutions.
Your costume is pretty.
With a budget of $33 million, it debuted in the box office with $32 million in earnings in its opening weekend. In its final theatrical run, it brought in $178 million domestically, $49 million internationally, for a combined total of $227 million. Elf is rated PG and it runs at 96 minutes. In genre, it is adventure, comedy, family, fantasy, and romance. It was positively accepted with IMDb holding it at 7.1 out of 10, Metacritic at 64, and Rotten Tomatoes has the critics at 85 and audience at 79%. Roger Ebert was pleasantly surprised by the movie's quality writing. This is one of those rare Christmas comedies that has a heart, a brain, and a wicked sense of humor, and it charms the socks right off the mantelpiece. The movie spawned various forms of media including a musical and a cartoon, yet it never spawned a direct sequel. Various sources state the reason why, ranging from the fear of it being an obvious cash grab, fear of it not living up to the original, and an alleged feud between the lead star Will Ferrell and director Jon Favreau. Will Ferrell was born on July 16, 1967 in Irvine, California. Will Ferrell plays the lead as Buddy, who is a human raised in the North Pole in the company of elves and began searching for his biological father. Although he was already established on SNL, his move towards movies saw him star in Zoolander in 2001 and lead in Old School. After Elf, he went on to star in Anchorman in 2004 and The Producers in 2005. James Caan was born on March 26, 1940 in New York and passed on July 6, 2022. James Caan plays Buddy's father that didn't know that had a son. Prior to Elf, Caan starred in Dogville and The Jericho Mansions both in 2003. After Elf, he went on to do various voice-over works and TV with on-screen performances in Get Smart in 2008 and New York, I Love You, also in the same year. Zooey Deschanel was born on January 17, 1980 in LA, California. Zoe plays Jovi, who works at Gimbel's and is the love interest in the film. Prior to Elf, she was in The New Guy in 2002 and All the Girls in 2003. After Elf, she went on to be in Eulogy in 2004 and The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy in 2005. Jon Favreau was born on October 19, 1966 in New York. He was working in Hollywood throughout the 90s as an actor and writer and moved to directing in the 2000s. Due to Elf's success, his stardom exploded. His directing career started with Maid in 2001, Elf in 2003, and he followed up with Zathura in 2005, followed by both Iron Man movies in 2008 and 2010. He has a close relationship with Disney, which has allowed him to work on their biggest IPs, including Star Wars and the MCU. In Elf, he cameos in the film as Dr. Ben Leonardo.
What is this? What's happening?
What Robert is trying to say is that we are getting a divorce.
Don't do this.
No.
Now, we are the Neanderthal.
Speak for yourself, Dr. Trask.
You know, when you sent our soldiers...
The movie opens up with Papa Elf explaining elf lore, which is followed by the credits in a book-like fashion. We are then brought into a nursery where an orphan baby sneaks into Santa's sack. Unknowingly, Santa brings him into the North Pole where Papa Elf adopts him and names him Buddy. As he grows older, it is more and more apparent that he doesn't fit in, yet he himself hasn't realized it. One day, he accidentally eavesdropped on a conversation revealing his human identity. After confronting Papa Elf, he gathers the necessary details needed to locate his biofather and sets off.
In a magical land called New York City.
After a hilarious fish out of water montage, we end up at the Empire State Building where Walter, Buddy's biological dad, works at. Due to the insane nature of the meeting, Walter thinks that he's a crazy person. However, Buddy name drops his dad's former fling prior to being escorted out. He's sarcastically told to go back to Santa at Gimbel's department store, and he does just that. Due to his elf outfit, a manager mistakenly assumes he's an employee and brings him to the work area where he meets Jovi. At closing time, Buddy takes it upon himself to decorate the entire store. The following morning, the Gimbel staff are in complete awe by the overnight transformation. Just when they were discussing who did it, the mall Santa walks by and Buddy chases after him in excitement. The excitement was short-lived once he realizes that it is not the real Santa and a fight breaks out between them that destroys Santa's village. We cut to his dad, who had researched his old girlfriend the previous night and who now receives a gift from Buddy that further proves that they are legitimate father and son. Just then, he gets a phone call from the police. We cut to Buddy sitting in a jail cell when his dad bails him out and immediately takes him to the doctors to get a DNA test done. The doctor confirms this father-son relationship claim and recommends Walter to bring him home and introduce him to the family. The doctor believes this may help him snap out of the childlike regression. With the suggestion, Buddy gets invited into Walter's home where they have dinner and he is given a bed to sleep in. The following morning, Buddy picks up Michael after school, and as they're walking home, they begin getting pelted by snowballs by other kids. Using his experience growing up in snow, Buddy rapid fires snowballs at the kids, pushing them away and leaving the brothers to finally begin to bond. They end up at Gimbel's, where Buddy nervously asks Jovi out on a date.
Do you want to go eat food? But I'm free on Thursday.
Throughout the day, we see that Walter is a nervous wreck as his job is on the line and he doesn't know what to do with Buddy. He decides to take him to work with him the next day so that the house doesn't get trashed. Frustrated in the office, Walter sends Buddy to the mailroom, ensuring an uninterrupted, crucial phone call with a high-profile individual that could save his career.
That's great.
That night, Buddy and Jovi go out on their date, which goes well and ends up in a kiss. The next day, Walter attends the meeting with the man, played by Peter Dinklage, to help him save his career. Buddy interrupts the meeting, mistaking the man for an elf due to his height. The misunderstanding escalates into a one-sided brawl, causing the prominent writer to exit the meeting, putting Walter's career at risk once again. In pure frustration, Walter lashes out at Buddy.
I don't care that you're my son! Get out of my life! Now!
As a result, Walter's time is up and he has nothing to show his boss and his higher-ups. After the outburst, Buddy decides to leave. However, due to Buddy's absence, Walter's son crashes the meeting seeking his dad's help in finding him. In response, Walter resigns from his job, prioritizing his family. In his lowest point, Buddy sees Santa in the distance and chases after him as the sleigh comes crashing down. Santa tells him that there is no more Christmas spirit, and as a result, the entire sleigh came down. The crash turned into a beacon of sorts in which it attracted Buddy, Walter and son, and a group of people began gathering around to see. The Hobbs family helps Santa fix the sleigh, during which the controversial Central Park Rangers are sent in to investigate. Walter's son decides to take Santa's list to the news camera to conjure up Christmas spirit with the New Yorkers. It ends up powering it up, but Jovi and Walter's Christmas jingles fully power it, allowing Santa to achieve liftoff. The movie ends with Walter running his own business and Jovi and Buddy cradling their baby in the North Pole.